I'm Howard Phillips Lovecraft, and today's question comes to us from Julian, who wants to know my thoughts on Ian Fleming's James Bond stories. Now, I, of course, did not live during the time when Ian Fleming was most famous, but, fun fact, we both of us lived in Toronto for a time. I, of course, after my reanimation, and he stayed with a friend across from the St. James Bond United Church. That's a neat tidbit you now know. As for espionage stories, they were certainly quite popular during my time, and I was very well aware of the amount of tradecraft and daring-do taking place in the pages of the pulps where my stories also appeared, but they were not something I particularly focused on. I will say that what Mr. Fleming seems to have really done well for himself was not just craft a story that fed into the anxieties of the Cold War and questions about 20th century masculinity, but he understood how to franchise. His stories went on to become films and games and merchandise, and as we all know, that's where the real money is at. And so for that, I can applaud him. One writer, though, who has talked a great deal about espionage is the friend of the program, Charlie Strauss, and he notes that the works of espionage fiction and the works of cosmic horror have very curious parallels. They dwell in the shadows, they deal with uncovering secrets and deciphering strange texts, trying to stop the machinations of invisible agents as they try to bring about the end of the world. But what he notes is that real espionage, the real work of spies, is in some ways even more like cosmic horror, in that James Bond is able to fight the bad guys, get the girl, go home, whereas in our world, with thermonuclear annihilation always just around the next corner, all they're ever truly doing is pushing back against the unspeakable, inevitable, much like the poor tortured heroes of my works. Although my stories did in fact feature far fewer women in various states of undress, but no analogy is perfect. As always, I'm Lovecraft, Howard Phillips Lovecraft.